This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Up next, I show that you're going to be working a match against Sam Houston, and Sam is actually going to hand you your first loss in Mid-Atlantic. This happens 2 days later, March 16th, 1985, in Greensboro. Would this would have been your first time working Greensboro?
Yeah, that was just a regular show, right? Regular house show.
It did have a nickname. It was called Silver Star 85.
What was that date?
March 16th, 1985.
Greensboro Coliseum. I think if that wasn't a pay-per-view, I think it was like a big show.
It is a big show.
Okay, there's a story that goes with that.
The show that night, I didn't mean to cut you off, was a world heavyweight title match, and it was also an Indian strap match. It's Flair versus Wahoo. And they had a TV title match with Tully versus Dusty, where Baby Doll was inside a cage above the ring. A 6-man with Sergeant Slaughter, Magnum TA, and Don Kernodle taking on the Russians. And then they had a bounty match with Slater and the Barbarian, plus Jimmy Valiant and more, blah, blah, blah. Tickets are $10, $15, and $20.
So I was plus one more exciting match at that point. Sam Houston was a very good babyface, sold really well. And he was this long, gangly kid that everybody knew was very young. So you could get a lot of heat pounded on him. I've never been a guy that counted wins or losses.
Right.
As long as it made sense. But I remember distinctly, couldn't figure out if I just got here and they have plans for me, is this a test?
Right.
Is this to see how I'll react?
Yep.
So I didn't think anything about it. That was my frame of mind. I knew that went on in WWF. I didn't know it went on everywhere. I just thought it was like a mistake. If I'm going to be one of your guys, I should probably win this one for sure.
You should.
But I didn't. And then we got paid. And I remember Greensboro, if you've got these facts and figures, was that a $400,000 house?
I don't know what the house is, but I do know it was a monster event. It was even spelled in some places STARR for Silver Star, sort of like Starcade. But it's the 25th anniversary of the Greensboro Coliseum. So it is a big event. And they're also going to start the 50th anniversary of Jim Crockett Promotions here at this event. So it's a major show, but it is one that is probably most notable for what happened the night before when Jim Crockett Memorial Park burned. We'll come back to that, but tell me about your loss here and what you were thinking.
Okay, so I went out and I pounded the piss out of Sam. Sam got a quick roll up somewhere, and I think I dropped him again. So he won, but nobody noticed. But I still was in the back of my head, okay, it's not going to carry you off or anything. But I remember that arena packed. If you've been in it when it was packed for wrestling, I mean, for some reason, I mean, it's impressive, right?
Yes, it's huge.
It's a lot of people. It's a big gate. I don't remember exactly, but for some reason, right at 400,000, which is the biggest house I had ever been on. I mean, it was huge, and I'm expecting if I'm figured in, this is going to be my first big payoff.
Yeah.
Nope. $700. Now that is a underneath payoff. A lot of people are going to say, and I understand people in the real world that bust their ass. That's a lot of money, and it's a lot of money at my house.
But a $400,000 gate, and you're one of a handful of matches, it ain't very much.
And they have told me, kid, we're going to let you get over We're going to give you as much rope as you need. You take off. You're going to be one of our horses. We're going to let you run.
And then they beat you and give you $700.
They beat me, give me $700.
Yeah.
And I thought about this, and I told Rick, I said, that was am I wrong thinking this way? And he says, well, no, you're really not, but just let it go, man. I'm telling you, they have plans. I've heard them talk. I've heard the conversations. It won't take long before you'll be up in those pay slots. I couldn't shake it, Conrad, because I felt like I'd
been lied to.
Got screwed.
Yeah.
That's not a good payoff for a $400,000 house. It's just not. And that's what it's about. It's not about the amount of money or what it means to, that you can do with it at that time and what year it was. I got screwed.
Yeah.
And I went in to talk to Jimmy Crockett, and I knocked on the door, and I just said, Mr. Crockett, I guess got to get something cleared up. I said, and I didn't mention getting beat or anything like that. I just said, that house was incredible in Greensboro the other night, and thank you for allowing me to be on it. But that payoff just didn't seem right. Oh, well, I don't recall. What was that payoff? Arn? I said, $700. He said, well, you've been here 2 weeks, a couple of weeks. I said, yes, sir. I do know that, but I also know what I've been told and what your plans are for me. If this was Blackjack Mulligan sitting here and he had just been here 2 weeks, would you have given him that payoff if he was in that slot? He said, well, what does that have to do with it? I said, well, he's a top guy. I'm going to be a top guy as soon as these TVs get around. I just don't feel like it was fair. It was, and he says, and I can see that he's going, have we got a prima donna here?
Yeah, exactly.
And I understand what he should have been thinking, hey, is this guy's here 2 weeks and he's already trying to hold me up.
Right.
Using a Blackjack Mulligan. I was not trying to demean Blackjack Mulligan or saying I was in that league, but at some point I was going to be in that league.
That's right.
I had no doubt. And if they had no doubt,
then what's the holdup?
Then don't pay me later. Pay me now.
Yes.
It's $400,000.
By the way, that's a shirt now over at boxofgimmicks.com. Don't pay me later. Pay me now.
Check.
Yeah.
So that was the first little dust up that we had. It's one of those things. I never pursued it any further. He never mentioned it again. That was my payoff. That was it. And it ended up, this is what's so crazy, which made it even worse. When I left Ron Fuller, my last week in the territory was almost $1,300. Now, these are small towns, small territory, whatever. By the time, even with a $700 payoff, the rest of the week, I think I had a $1,100 week. And that was with 350-mile round trips each way. You know what I'm saying? I worked every day and ended up with I did. I had some $100 payoffs. Black Bart, you called the shot, my friend. I'm one of those cocksuckers that got one of those $100 payoffs.
Oh, my God.
Matter of fact, more than one. So he was absolutely right. He knew what the pay scale was and had $1,100 a week. And man, I was fuming.
I get it. It's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. Do you really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast, we make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket, so what are you waiting for? Hurry to savewithconrad.com.
I actually called Bob Armstrong and said, and I called him, I think from Rick's house. I mean, there were no cell phones back then. And Rick must have been listening outside. I said, Bob, I'm not happy. Arn, it's only been 2 weeks. I said, well, you said I could come back anytime I wanted to. Can I come back? Because I'm ready to pack my car and come. Whoa, wait a minute. What happened? Da, 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 da. And he talked me down. He said, listen, they won't be able to deny you. Give yourself time. Give yourself time. Give yourself a little more time. Give yourself another month. Let the TVs, they're using you good on TV, right? And I said, yes, sir, they are. And they've told me they have big plans and all that, but that's less than I made in the small territory that I just left. And he went, well, it's going to change for you. You got Flair, in your corner. It's Dusty's, I think, is in your corner from what I've heard. So it'll get better. So just ride it out. He said, if 2 weeks from now you feel the same, call me back. So I had that in my pocket, and Rick came in and went, what are you doing? What are you thinking about doing? I said, I'm thinking about heading back down to Picola.
Yeah, why not?
He says, oh my God, do not do that. And the only thing I can think of is he must have went to Jimmy because the next 2 weeks the pay went up. I wasn't going to pursue it any further. I wasn't going to talk to him again. I'm sure he wasn't going to talk to me again. But those next 2 weeks were crucial. And it wasn't like the pay doubled or something, but it just got more in line with what it should have been in my mind. And that's really all that matters. With payoffs in this business, Conrad, it doesn't matter what somebody else makes. You just have to resolve in your mind what is fair for you, where you're positioned, what your accomplishments are, what do you contribute to the company, and you got to assess your worth. You're the only one that can do it. And if you let somebody know, this is what I'm worth, be prepared to stick by your guns, because they may say, well, I don't think you are.
Did you listen? We're bouncing all over the place, and I'm glad to do it. But you told us before about the reason you left Crockett, and it's ultimately a payoff dispute. And I find it fascinating that your Crockett story starts the same way. Was being upset or negotiating your payoff always part of your experience with Crockett Promotions?
Those 2 instances were the only 2.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.